میشەوە پێکەوە یەکدەست هاو ئاهەنگ لە ئاستی گەورەترا بچینە پێشێ. A brief yet important look at Eastern Kurdistan's history. The Kurdish question is one of the most significant and yet difficult issues in the Middle East. It is a highly sensitive topic politically speaking. Due to its sensitive nature, the Kurds have throughout their history called for peaceful negotiation between the Kurds and the nation states to reach a peaceful and everlasting solution to this very important question. The nation states have, however, responded with increased repressive, oppressive and violent politics and practices. They have throughout history subjected the Kurds to intensified assimilatory and denial processes. A survey of the Kurdistan history in this part of Kurdistan and the other parts exemplifies the repression and violence. Our nation has throughout history struggled to solve this issue and attain its international political and human rights through resistance. This resistance has accordingly led to loss of countless lives of our brave sons and daughters for the liberation of the Kurds. There have been countless times and opportunities to solve this very important question, and the Kurds have, as discussed above, always called for dialogue and peaceful negotiation as opposed to resorting to violence and terror. The occupiers have nonetheless not taken any serious step to resolve the Kurdish question and problem. They have always ignored the Kurds' call for peaceful negotiation and never intended on sitting down with the Kurds to reach an everlasting peaceful solution to this issue. The Kurds, on the other hand, have committed to continue on their national liberation movement and struggle for the liberation of the Kurds for the oppression, against oppression, and the Kurds' freedom. The 1979 revolution is marked as an important event in the recent history of the Middle East, during which the nations of Iran revolted against the former Shah regime and dissolved his government. This was a golden opportunity to present itself in the many years for the nation in Iran to bring about a more modern government and society through which they could live in peace and prosperity alongside one another. The Kurdish nation in the Eastern Kurdistan played an important part and role in the revolution. They demanded that their national rights to be recognized by the state and called for self-governance and self-representation in the country. The Kurds wanted to live in peace and prosperity now that the Shah was gone. Their peaceful demands and calls for peaceful negotiation to the Kurdish issue were nonetheless rejected and opposed by newly formed tyrannical regime in Iran. It moreover did not take the Ayatollahs long, and they began monopolizing and centralizing power in the country, along with ground of offensive against the Kurdish nation. On August 18, 1979, the regime's supreme leader, the Grand Ayatollah Khomeini, declared a holy war or jihad against the Kurdish nation and labeled the Kurdish nation as unbelievers or kafir. The regime thereafter began massive offensive against the Kurdish opposition groups and population throughout Kurdistan. Some of their repressive policies and practices included but are not limited to torture, bombardment, imprisonment, mass killing, and the mass hanging in public areas. They further employed different strategies in their attempt to break down the Kurdish resistance and opposition groups. Some of these strategies have been the destruction of villages, towns, and cities. They have even begun setting the forests on fire, all the while subjecting the Kurdish nation to increased poverty and unemployment. What they have, however, not been able to break down is the Kurdish struggle, resistance, and devotion for a free and secular Kurdistan and Iran, where the Kurds, along with the other nations, can live in peace and liberty. 37 years of oppression and suppression have passed, and the Kurdish nation in East Kurdistan stand firm in their belief and struggle for a free society and country. They are still giving blood to have this objective realized. Now that we are commemorating the life and struggle of our martyrs, we renew our vows and promise to continue on their struggle against the tyrannical regime of Tehran until Kurdistan is free. Thank you very much.